The distress beacon had been pulsing for 3 days when Leo's salvage pod finally locked onto it. He floated in the zero-gravity cockpit, watching the hulking silhouette materialize against the Crimson Nebula, a vessel unlike anything in the Federation database. Its hull rippled with bioluminescent patterns, organic and metallic simultaneously, as if grown rather than built. "Command, I've got visual on the target," Leo transmitted, his voice crackling through the comm system. "This doesn't look like any registered ship class I've seen." Static answered him. The interference this deep in the Helix sector was expected, but it still made his stomach tighten. He was alone out here, 48 light-years from the nearest human outpost, with nothing but his tools and his wits. Leo maneuvered closer, his mechanical fingers, prosthetics from a reactor accident 5 years ago, dancing across the control panel. The ship's airlock appeared sealed, but a faint energy signature suggested auxiliary power still functioned. He deployed his docking clamps and felt the satisfying magnetic thunk as his pod attached to the alien vessel. The airlock cycled with surprising efficiency. Leo stepped through, mag boots keeping him anchored as he surveyed the interior. The corridor stretched before him, walls pulsing with that same eerie bioluminescence, casting everything in shades of violet and silver. The air was breathable, his scanner confirmed it, but carried a strange sweetness, like ozone mixed with lavender. "Okay, Leo," he muttered to himself. "Find the reactor, patch the leak, collect your salvage fee. Simple." Nothing was ever simple. He followed the energy readings deeper into the ship, his portable scanner chirping softly. The architecture defied logic, corridors curved in impossible angles, doorways that seemed to shift when he wasn't looking directly at them. His engineering mind struggled to comprehend the geometry. This wasn't just alien technology, it was alien physics. The reactor room finally revealed itself after 20 minutes of navigation. Leo stepped through the threshold and froze. A woman stood before the central column, her back to him. She wore a flowing garment that seemed to be woven from starlight itself, shifting between translucent and opaque. Her hair cascaded down her back in waves of deep midnight blue, and when she turned, Leo's breath caught. Her eyes were galaxies, literally. Swirling nebulae of gold and violet spun within her irises, and her skin held an iridescent quality that made her appear simultaneously solid and ephemeral. She was humanoid but undeniably alien, undeniably beautiful and undeniably powerful. "You are the repair technician," she stated, not a question. Her voice resonated with harmonics that shouldn't exist in standard atmosphere. Leo's hand instinctively moved to his toolkit. "I'm Leo Castellan, freelance engineer. Picked up your distress beacon. Who are you?" "I am Bella Nexarath, sovereign of the Calethian Empire, guardian of 17 galaxies, keeper of the cosmic weave." She tilted her head, studying him with those impossible eyes. "And my ship is dying." Leo blinked, then blinked again. "You're a queen." "A galactic empress, to be precise." Bella moved toward him with fluid grace, her feet barely touching the floor. "My reconnaissance vessel suffered catastrophic damage passing through your species' experimental wormhole. The humans call it the Henderson Gate, I believe." "That gate's been offline for 3 months," Leo said, his engineer's mind already working through the implications. "The exotic matter containment failed. They said nothing could have survived transit through an unstable wormhole." "Nothing human," Bella corrected. "My people evolved in the quantum foam between dimensions. We navigate impossibilities." She gestured to the reactor column, where fractures spiderwebbed across its crystalline surface. "But even we have limits. The dimensional flux corrupted my ship's consciousness core. Without intervention, it will collapse into a singularity within 6 hours." Leo approached the reactor, his scanner painting the damage in alarming detail across his visor. This wasn't a mechanical failure. The entire system operated on principles that shouldn't exist. Quantum entanglement used as structural support. probability fields as power conduits. The ship was alive in ways that made biological life seem simple. "I can't fix this," he admitted. "I don't even understand what I'm looking at." Bella's expression softened, a flash of vulnerability across her otherwise regal features. "You possess something my advanced science cannot replicate, Leo Castellan. You possess intuition born of limitation. My people have transcended traditional physics for so long, we've forgotten how to think within constraints." She placed a hand on the reactor and it pulsed in response. "This ship and I are bonded. When it dies, part of my consciousness dies with it. I need someone who can think impossibly to save an impossible machine." Leo stared at the fractures, then at his mechanical hands. He'd rebuilt reactor cores held together with duct tape and prayer. He'd rerouted power systems using components from 3 different incompatible technologies. His prosthetics themselves were a hybrid of human cybernetics and salvaged alien tech he'd adapted through trial and error. "Okay," he said slowly. "Talk me through what each of these systems does. Not the quantum theory, the function. What moves power from where to where?" Bella's eyes brightened. For the next hour she explained while Leo worked, his hands moving with practiced precision. He couldn't understand the physics, but he understood flow. Energy was energy, whether it moved through copper wire or probability streams. He identified the quantum equivalent of broken pipes and short circuits. "This fracture here," he said, pointing to a particularly nasty break. "It's creating a feedback loop, right? The power can't complete its cycle, so it's eating itself." "Yes," Bella confirmed, surprised. "Our engineers spent weeks trying to calculate a solution." "Don't calculate, bypass." Leo pulled a strange device from his toolkit, a human-made phase stabilizer he'd modified with scavenged components. "This won't fix the fracture, but it'll create an alternate pathway. The power can route around the damage." "That violates 17 laws of multidimensional thermodynamics," Bella said. "Yeah, well, I've never read them." Leo grinned and attached the device. The reactor shuddered, then the fractures stopped spreading. The bioluminescence brightened. "Sometimes being ignorant has advantages." Bella laughed, a sound like crystal chimes in a solar wind. "You've saved my ship with the technological equivalent of bandages and hope." "Story of my life." Leo stood, wiping his hands. "But this is temporary, maybe 3 weeks before that bypass fails. You need proper repairs." "Then you will accompany me to Calethian space." Again, not a question. Leo raised an eyebrow. "Just like that, I've got contracts a life." "You have debts," Bella interrupted gently. "I can sense the weight you carry. The accident that cost you your hands also cost you your reputation. They blame you for the reactor failure that killed 17 people, though it was faulty equipment, not your negligence." Leo's jaw tightened. "You read minds too." "I read quantum signatures. Every choice, every trauma leaves ripples in probability." She stepped closer. "I offer you a choice now, Leo Castellan. Return to your salvage work, scraping by on the edges of human space, or come with me. Let me introduce you to 17 galaxies where your particular genius, thinking impossibly, is precisely what we need." He looked at the reactor, at his modified tools, at his mechanical hands that had rebuilt themselves into something neither fully human nor fully machine. He thought about the distress beacon he'd almost ignored, about the mysterious pull that had brought him here. "What would I do in 17 galaxies?" Bella smiled, and for a moment the stars in her eyes aligned into something that looked almost like hope. "The Calethian Empire spans dimensions your people haven't discovered. We have technology that makes gods envious, but we've forgotten how to improvise, how to adapt, how to solve problems with duct tape and hope." She extended her hand. "I need an engineer who sees broken things and imagines solutions. I need someone who belongs nowhere to help me protect everywhere." Leo stared at her hand, delicate, powerful, impossibly alien. Then at his own mechanical fingers, scarred and rebuilt. He thought about the 17 people he couldn't save, about the Federation that had blacklisted him, about 3 weeks of temporary fixes holding back the impossible. He took her hand. "One condition," he said. "I'm still calling you Bella, not your 17 Galaxy Highness or whatever." Her laugh echoed through the ship as the reactor sang with renewed life, and somewhere in the space between dimensions, 17 galaxies shifted to accommodate one stubborn human engineer who just agreed to fix the unfixable. The ship pulled away from Leo's salvage pod, leaving it drifting in the Crimson Nebula. He'd grab it later, or not. Where he was going, he suspected he wouldn't need such primitive equipment. As the Henderson Gate's unstable wormhole reopened before them, its swirling chaos somehow tamed by Bella's presence, Leo strapped himself into a seat that molded to his form like it had been waiting for him. "Ready?" Bella asked from her command throne. Leo looked at his hands, at the impossible ship, at the queen of 17 galaxies who'd chosen a disgraced human engineer as her problem solver. "No," he said honestly, "but when has that ever stopped me?" They plunged into the wormhole, and Leo Castellan disappeared from human space entirely, leaving only a mystery that would puzzle Federation investigators for decades. What happened to the salvage pilot who answered a distress call and never came home? But in 17 galaxies, among species that had forgotten how to dream in limitations, a new legend was beginning, of the human who could fix anything, even the impossible, armed with nothing but duct tape, hope, and mechanical hands that had rebuilt themselves into something magnificent.